Critics of the agreement believe, here in Israel in particular, Israeli Prime Minister Beniamin Netanyahu has been an outspoken critic of this agreement, believes that it allows Iran to be a nuclear power, to continue its proliferation or enrichment of uranium, and that by the time this deal expires in 10, 15, or 25 years with these different items within the agreement, that they could be on the verge of a nuclear weapon, not just a nuclear weapon, perhaps dozens and maybe even hundreds of nuclear devices that could threaten the whole region. For the first time in a long time, unlike President Obama, and for 8 years, they followed a policy of appeasing Iran and its nuclear ambitions. And now the United States is directly confronting Iran, and it makes a marked difference in policy. From Israel's standpoint, Iran is the #1 enemy, and they see a nuclear Iran as an existential threat that could pose a direct threat to the future and the fate of the Jewish state. It's also considered by many other of the Sunni nations, like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and the Gulf states, that a nuclear Iran would pose a direct threat to them as well. And that's why you see in the Middle East this ironic and very unusual developing relationship between the Sunni nations and the Jewish state. You hear these growing statements by, say, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, who says that the Jews have a right to the land. And so these are unusual statements coming from a Sunni nation that would be talking about Israel. We see these behind-the-scenes relationships going on, and so that is because in the Middle East it says, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and that means that Israel and Saudi Arabia and these other Sunni nations, they see Iran as a mutual enemy, so you can see this growing relationship between them. So the other thing that is happening with Iran is that they want to build a land bridge from Tehran all the way to the Mediterranean. Right now they control much of Lebanon through their proxy army, Hezbollah. But inside Syria particularly, they want to gain influence, and they want to be able to literally send weapons all the way from Iran to Lebanon if they could. And so that's why the focus going on, the battle going on right now inside Syria is so important. Just a few weeks ago, President Trump was saying, we want to be out of Syria, but there were advisors around him and the many other people within the United States that were warning President Trump that if they withdraw, it would leave a vacuum for Iran to fill, and that it would be able to create this land bridge. They also have a great influence in Iraq as well. So if they do create this land bridge, it poses a direct threat to U.S. interests in the region, and certainly here to Israel. And that is one of the red lines that Israeli Prime Minister Beniamin Netanyahu said they will not allow Iran to be able to establish a robust military presence inside Syria. So you really have these opposing interests right now between Iran that wants to build this land bridge and Israel that wants to stop it. So it's very likely within weeks, months, perhaps even years, that we're going to see this direct confrontation between Israel and Iran going on inside Syria.